Right-wing commentator Ben Shapiro fancies himself the great defender of American families. In a crazy tweet, he said, quote, "Any society that isn't normatively based on heterosexual family formation is definitionally doomed to collapse. Pretending that society ought to be apathetic about such matters, or even worse, condemnatory of the presence of traditional norms, is civilizationally suicidal." What a bizarre opinion. Heterosexuals are the overwhelming majority of people. Thus, all societies are based by default on heterosexual families. They don't need fascist right-wing social engineers to stop an imaginary collapse. Homophobia never helped a single family thrive. It only causes pain and misery for LGBTQ people. Conservatives like Shapiro talk about the natural family. Well, if it's so natural, why does Ben Shapiro portray heterosexuality as so fragile? But for the intervention of right-wing conservatives, everyone would turn out gay or trans. Isn't that what he's implicitly saying? Heterosexuality is the predominant orientation. The Republican Party has no need to promote nor protect the sexual longings and romantic desires of straight people. This is nothing more than cheap demagoguery for political gain. Almost all LGBTQ people are raised by heterosexual families, so being gay or trans has nothing to do with what you teach. You find sexual minorities in variantly anti-LGBTQ societies like Iran, Uganda, Russia, or Mississippi. These kids grow up where they hear nothing but the worst negative messages imaginable, and yet they still somehow turn out to be LGBTQ. If being gay or trans is taught, as Shapiro ignorantly implies, why are there so many LGBTQ evangelicals, Muslims, and Orthodox Jews? Obviously, negative messages have zero influence over sexual orientation or gender identity. But positive messages can give young gay people and trans individuals self-esteem and lead them to healthy, productive lives. It's not unhealthy heterosexual families that Shapiro is concerned about. It's healthy LGBTQ people that disprove his backward ideas and notions that concern him so much. Shapiro acts as though cities across America are turning gay. Everywhere you look, gay people, trans people. But only 15% of San Francisco's population is gay. Just 4.5% of New York City's population is gay, and these are considered gay meccas. So it appears that heterosexuality is alive and well everywhere except in the paranoid and conspiracy-addled minds of conservatives. What directly and indisputably undermines families is divorce. It's literally the dissolution of the family unit. Yet conservatives are experts in divorce. In just the past few months, pro-family icons Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert announced divorces. Why isn't Ben Shapiro trying to save their marriage? Why isn't he condemning Bobo and Marge? His outrage is quite selective. Let's be clear, no society in human history has collapsed because of LGBTQ people or the demise of the heterosexual family unit. Show me the anthropological evidence, and cherry-picking Bible verses from Sodom and Gomorrah doesn't count. What Shapiro is preaching is dangerous. He is advocating for big government to enforce a cult of conformity. Have you ever noticed how every despot and dictator, like Russia's Putin or Turkey's Erdogan, poses as a great defender of family values? Shapiro isn't defending traditional families. Instead, he is calling for the oppression and persecution of LGBTQ people. He is essentially pressuring gay people to marry the opposite sex, even though their orientation hasn't changed. Such arranged families are a facade. They don't work. They lead to pain, suffering, and misery. Not that a rigid ideologue like Shapiro cares if real people are harmed by his rhetoric. Former ex-gay Christian leader McCrae Game can attest that trying to engineer heterosexual families doesn't work.
My ministry newsletter was more of a form of propaganda, using my marriage as a tool, trying to say how in love I was. In ex-gay ministry, you're almost trained to not be honest with yourself, to really deny those things. You couldn't even say the word gay.
The best thing that Ben Shapiro can do to support the traditional family is to stop talking about it. Nobody needs his help to form families. Nobody needs his help to protect them. It's a mark of extreme narcissism for one to present themselves as the protector of the American family and the savior of civilization.